statistic. The CDC says every minute about 20 Americans are assaulted. And we're not talking about by a stranger, but by an intimate partner.
LaMiracle Taylor knows this all too well. Her former boyfriend is serving a 20-year prison sentence for an attack that nearly killed her. Now she and her family are using therapy to regain the trust taken away from them. The Fox Medical team's Beth Galvin is here now with her emotional story. Beth?
And Tom and Sine, on the surface, LaMiracle's life was pretty typical. She had a college education, owned her own hair salon, and was raising her daughter as a single mom. But when things started to fall apart, LaMiracle says she felt trapped, blaming herself for the chaos that surrounded her.
How was your trip?
LaMiracle Taylor is a survivor of a story that is not pretty.
Someone that loved me, someone that I loved, shot me. He tried to take my life.
That someone is this man, Nemcio Walter, who came into Taylor's life 7 years ago.
We were friends. He was just a really good friend of mine for years.
The friendship evolved into something more in 2012 when Taylor and her then 8-year-old daughter hit hard times.
I called him and I said, hey, I'm in a situation, we're staying in a hotel, I need a place to live. And he allowed me and my daughter to go to his house.
For months, Taylor says things were good until one night in the car when they began to argue.
He takes my phone and hits me in the eye with it.
Then about a month later, Taylor says Walter hit her again.
It just became a pattern.
Things came to a head in this parking lot February 22nd, 2014. Taylor says she and Nemcio were in the car about 100 feet away from her hair salon where her daughter was waiting when they started to fight.
I stumble out the car, I pick up my purse. As soon as I turn around, he just shot me right here. It was about 3 centimeters from Mark.
Those are traumatic experiences, and they don't just go away.
Brenda Muhammad, executive director of Atlanta Victims Assistance, helped LaMiracle negotiate the court system and get counseling for herself and her daughter. Muhammad says for kids, the impact of domestic violence can be devastating.
You know, you've got children in these environments who witnesses, and then they have to go to school, and they're expected to perform at the same level as other kids.
Walter was sentenced to 20 years in prison as a repeat offender, and LaMiracle says therapy helped her and her daughter come to terms with what had happened to them.
I felt so guilty in the situation. I blamed myself. For months, I blamed myself.
Not anymore. LaMiracle says yes, she was a victim.
But it's my story, it's part of who I am, and I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to make a difference, whether it's just in my daughter's life or someone else's.
And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says many survivors of physical and sexual violence and stalking from a loved one or a former loved one experience long-term complications like post-traumatic stress disorder. And LaMiracle says her therapy has helped her forgive Walter, but she says she has learned to never put herself in this same position again. And her message, especially to other single parents, be mindful of the people you allow into your life. Tom and Sine.
Wow, it's brave of her to share her story. I'm sure
really
there's
is.
someone that this will reach.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Beth.
Thanks, Beth.